about a handful of weeks ago, this was supposed to be ceremonious, right? The return of Chris Paul back to L.A. He was emotional. Fans greeted him. It was supposed to be the return of the Lob City point guard, and things have changed so quickly, right?
That's right. Paul Pierce has just been eclipsed for having the worst farewell tour in NBA history. Because in case you've been living under a rock, Chris Paul was...
Rob G, where'd you get that from?
Get what?
What you just said, because that was actually funny. Where'd you get that from?
I stole that from your joke book that you left here in the studio.
No, I'm asking. Was that
I'm
you
just
being
clever
that
sometimes, every once in a while.
All right. I'm impressed.
The Clippers are currently in Atlanta taking on the Hawks. They're actually up by 6 points right now, middle of the first quarter. But in the overnight hours at 2:30 a.m. Eastern, to be specific, Chris Paul announced via Instagram that the team told him to go home. You're not welcome here anymore. And according to ESPN's Shams Charania, Chris Paul, before he got sent home, had not been on speaking terms with head coach Ty Lue for weeks because Chris Paul and his quote-unquote leadership style had been clashing with everybody around. He's very vocal about holding management, coaches, and players accountable. You'll recall about a week ago, he put the literal definition for leeway on his Instagram story. Very cryptic. Long story short, Chris Paul is gone. He's at home. According to the LA Times, very few teams are interested, if any, in bringing him back. So this farewell tour not going the way we expected it would.
This is a lesson, Kelvin, for all people out there. You got to know where you fit in. Chris Paul still thinks he's that dynamic guard from 10 years ago, and and everybody wanted his services, and they were going to win a championship. And when they were up 2-0 against the Suns in the NBA Finals, he's a top 3 point guard. Remember all that?
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, Chris Paul. You ain't that anymore. And when you're not good enough as a player, you can't be a jerk. That's what he was. Kelvin, I've been covering the league since
1987.
And I talked to a lot of people around the league. This is his MO, right? Mm-hmm. Calling people out, rubbing people the wrong way, telling players, I'll get you up out of here like he's the GM, just all that.
Yep.
It comes as no surprise. When you're averaging 2 points and you're not playing, nobody wants you to be a squeaky wheel. It doesn't mean that anything he said about the team and the players, they had an awful season. He's not the messenger. He's not the guy to deliver that message. I don't care about the career, how long you play. You're not playing. You're not a veteran who's still starting, the starting point guard. You're not playing. You're averaging 2 points. Kelvin, you got to know better. You have to. I bring up this story all the time. Fantasy Island. I'm not equating Chris Paul to Tattoo, but I'm just trying to say.
Okay.
Tattoo was on a very popular show, Fantasy Island, with Ricardo Montalban. He wanted Montalban money. He went to the producers at ABC and demanded Montalban money. He's a little person with a couple of lines. Mm-hmm. The plane is not going to get you equal money. You're not an equal star on the show. Did ABC bend, the producers bend, Kelvin? Did they bend? No.
No.
What'd they do? They replaced him.
They said, all right, cool, peace.
Peace. And the Clippers did the same exact thing. He wasn't good enough anymore. You can't be not good or so-so or bad or whatever you want to say and think you have the same clout as when you were a big-time star in the NBA. I don't care about how long you played, all that other stuff. There's a way of going about it. There's a way of being a player's coach, dealing with young players, passing along. Do you know what I mean? Not to be a distraction. And that's why Chris Paul, his farewell tour got detoured and the bus went off the cliff. That's what happened.
Chris Paul, Rob, has lived long enough. You know that old phrase they say, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I feel like Chris Paul, the allegory of his NBA career, if you look back, he was the babyface assassin when he was with the Hornets and maybe making that team overachieve and battling against Kobe and the Lakers in playoff. You're like, man, this kid is good. And ends up becoming the elite. Not only do they call him a point guard, they call him the point god. And we thought of him as the ultimate leader, and he was going to ultimately become a Laker. David Stern says no to that, and then he becomes a Clipper in Lob City. As you know, you were here some of those years. Becomes the sexy pick. They were the it team before the Warriors. People wanted, they're going to win a championship. They were fun to watch, and it never manifested. But Chris Paul then started to become, it went bad with him and Blake Griffin. You heard all the stories about them not getting along with this guy, him and DJ getting into it. And then you hear about him and Doc getting into it. Then he goes to other teams, and the teams are good because he's a very good player, one of the all-time greats, and they always overachieved. You kind of thought, oh, okay, the Rockets' house is going to work with him and Russell Westbrook. It worked. He didn't get hurt. They might have went to the finals. It worked with OKC. But all the other stuff, we would hear how he would just grind people's gears. He would wear on people. He could never change. He would never evolve his style as far as getting along with people. You hear stuff about telling, don't do what the coach said, do this, do that. And so it's remarkable to me that a guy the first 7-8 years of his career was beloved, was one of the most entertaining, had all the commercials. He was Chris and Cliff Paul. He was the guy, became kind of the grumpy old man and go on to teams and they're not liking him and things aren't going good. It's just been remarkable to see that happen over the years of his career. And you mentioned it. You can be on a team and be a guy that's not necessarily producing, but still be a veteran presence and guys respect you and listen to. But part of you doing that is it's okay to evolve. And it sounds like he never evolved. I'll give you an example. Somebody who he was going to be paired with, which would have been insane as far as the locker room, was him and Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant talks about he had to evolve as a leader because the way his approach was the first 7, 8, 9, 10 years of his career wasn't going to get it, if he was trying to win. He had to find other ways to motivate, find other ways. He talked about, I got to be in with guys. He talked about I had to have these personal relationships. Guys are bringing in baggage. They were going through things in life. I got to tap in with the guy, not just the player. And it seems like Chris never evolved. Like he just the way he was, he runs hot. He's always, on go, and that just seemed to rub guys the wrong way. So much so that the organization that brought him back to kind of be the staple. This is the guy, Rob, who was supposed to get the first jersey up in the rafters of the Intuit Dome. This was the guy who's supposed to be the first statue there, right? This was supposed to be bring him back. He was on our best years, he was our leader. And now it's looking like that might not happen. Now it's looking like that relationship is fractured. And the last thing I'll say is, at the end of the day, Rob, the Clippers gonna clip. The Clippers, you had Chris Paul, Blake, Jamal Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, all these great players for years, got nothing for it. You get a new owner, spending money, he's great, he's enthusiastic. You start nothing for it. You get Kawhi Leonard. I'm not coming unless you get Paul George. You get Paul George. You got Kawhi. You got James Harden over the years. You got a new arena. Nothing to show for it. For all of this, if I told you all the guys that you'd have, Paul George, Kawhi, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Jamal Crawford, who am I missing? Did I say James Harden? I mean, all these guys, Russell Westbrook. And at the end of that run, you have one Western Conference final appearance. The Clippers gonna clip, man.
Yeah, but they did the right thing here, though. You can't have somebody disrupting, even in a bad situation that they're in. You can't disrespect your bosses. You can't disrespect the front office. You can't disrespect the other people you work with. Dude, you should go on Twitter and look at all the ex-players who play with him saying, I can't stand that guy. Or like,
that's what I'm
they
saying,
don't
Rob. Like,
how it went
everywhere
down.
he
Like,
goes.
it's just unbelievable. Go look. Go look.
Let me ask you a question. I got one for you.
This is the trail that
Yeah.
was left But when he was a star, it's harder to push back on. You know that. It's just
And especially because he was a point guard, so you viewed it as, leader. He's got to be doing something right. He's a leader. He's the consummate leader. Rob G, I want to ask you this to both of you guys. If I'm just talking playing on the court, he's still one of my all-time favorite point guards to watch and also just period, like where he stands for me. Do you believe what we've seen over the last 10 years, people calling him dirty player? You see him punching guys, elbowing guys into you-know-whats, just doing dirty plays, kind of becoming grumpy. Do you think that has hurt his stature, the player? Like where the rankings and where, how people view. Because I feel like he went from, to Rob said it, top 3-4 point guard ever to now, guys, I heard the other day with a bunch of former players, they're like, yeah, he's top 7, 8, 9, maybe 8, top 10 for sure. I'm like, wait a minute. A decade ago, this dude was top 3, 4, maybe 5 at the latest. Do you think that's hurt him?
I don't. I think that when you look at his resume, it's up there with everybody not named Steph, Magic, and Isaiah. He has.
I feel like
11-time All NBA. He's been in the top 10 in the MVP 7 times. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Chris Paul. And you mentioned that he's rubbed people the wrong way for a long time. Part of it was he kind of had to be that kind of player to get the most out of his abilities because he's 5'10" on a good day. He's like a $180. Not super quick, can't jump high, but he was crafty and he was a bulldog and did everything he had to do to win. And it's funny that you mentioned these former players who say that they don't think he's that great or that he rubbed them the wrong way. What do they all have in common, everybody who said that? None of them have won anything. So maybe he was doing what he thought they could do to win.
I'm going to push back
worked.
on that. I'm going to push back on that because he didn't win anything either.
He won more at every spot he went to than the
No,
team
but
before.
he didn't win. Ultimately, everybody, and you remember this, wanted to crown them when they were up 2-0 with the Suns.
What have the Suns done since then, Rob?
No, I agree.
Every team he's gone to was better with him than
that
without
doesn't
him.
mean just because you don't win doesn't mean you can't have criticism. I'm just saying I've heard it from too many people over.
Yeah, but all the people you've heard it for didn't win. Blake Griffin never won anything. DeAndre Jordan never won anything.
but
James Harden never won anything. You could go down the list.
There are people. I'm going to tell you, I'm not. People who have won in this league told me that bad stuff.
Who?
That he's a
Rob,
bad.
want names, Rob? Because you say that on the air all the time. No, give me names.
I'm not going to say
Brady Quinn. Tell me which coach has done that.
You do be saying that, Rob. You do be saying that.
I'm not going to say who it is.
What I'm saying is yes, and I could see how it would rub people the wrong way because he is.
He's intense at all times. He runs hot at all times.
That is totally
him and Kobe
acceptable.
would have been the scariest teammates to be. They would have ran everybody.
He
off
would
the
not
team,
have
off
been
the team.
sent home off on this if they hadn't. You think that it just happened last week?
Yeah, but this is also a Clippers organization that disrespected Blake Griffin on his way out the door. This is a team.
He left.
This is a team that is allegedly gave Kawhi Leonard $30 million in unmarked bills behind the back of a toilet seat because they don't seem to be doing things the right way.
What you're doing though is clouding what Chris Paul did for them to be able to send, and he won't be signed by anybody. Nobody.
Well, because he's a 41-year-old point guard who can't move anymore.
No, I get it, but But it could have been a nice send-off, and he ruined it.
It's crazy to think that we're here when he got back here. He got back here.
Can you say that, Rob G? Who ruined it? He ruined it.
No, the Clippers did. The Clippers are 5-16 right now. They're kowtowing to Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Ty Lue.
Yeah.
None of them have been a good leader in any shape, sense of the word. Kawhi is under investigation, allegedly, for caping money.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to allow you.
James Harden is in the business of James Harden.
Chris Paul off the hook.
How am I letting him off the hook?
Being a bad guy.
He's the 14th guy on the bench on a 5-16 team.
Here's why I think the two things: Chris Paul's demeanor, Chris Paul's aptitude to want to compete, Chris Paul's making every organization better on the court. I think he came there and saw how they've been running it, who they've been signing, and I think as opposed to just fitting in on my last little hoorah, I think he came in there and disrupted. Hey, this how y'all doing? This why y'all sign? Why would y'all put this guy with us? Why? And I think they didn't like that, and I think they're like, man, you can't come in here. We brought you in here for the ceremonial, ride this thing out with us, and I think he came in there high strung on this is how you win. You do it this way. And they didn't like that. And Lawrence didn't like
what
it.
has he done? What has he won?
Every team he goes to, he's
No,
gone
what
to
has
been
he
better.
won, Kelvin?
He absolutely
Answer
didn't
the
win.
question.
He has not won
What did he
anything.
win?
He hasn't won
Okay, he
anything.
didn't win anything. He's
But
just like the Clippers. He didn't
No,
win,
well,
and the
don't go that
Clippers
far.
didn't win.
Don't go that far.
Yes.
He ain't the
what
Clippers.
What did he win?
He's
what
gone
did he
to
win?
the finals. They ain't
Did he
gone to
win the
finals.
championship?
No, that's
Did
for
he
sure.
win the
And
okay.
absolutely not. And that's a part of him.
Trying to crown him like he's coming in, he's Michael Jordan, he's telling you how to win
that's
titles.
why it didn't work.
Come
because
on,
he
man.
came in.
You're averaging 2 points. You're 41 years old. Stop it. You're
No,
not
see,
25.
that's why I disagree with that part. I think you can be a Juwan Howard, Jared Dudley guy on a team who ain't averaging nothing and be a great leader. I'm agreeing that his approach probably was wrong, but I think his approach was wrong because he used them as losers.
or definitely. Probably.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure Chris Paul, and Tyronn Lue didn't like it. Don't come in here telling me how to run it. I done been running this team with the injured Kawhi, injured James Harden.
What's the difference between Chris Paul and Tyronn Lue? What's the difference between
Tyronn
those
Lue got a ring.
Okay, there you go. He's a championship coach. There you go.
Right. Oh, you know I like Tyronn Lue.
All right.
All right, Rob, so they're watching us right now, which means another thing they can do is what?
They can subscribe. All you got to do is hit that button, subscribe to The Odd Couple for some of the best sports talk content in the nation.
Facts, and while you're at it, they can like, they can comment, they can share. Do all that for us. We appreciate it. Just do all that right up in here.